Hello everyone. In this lesson, we will talk about operations of fractions. There are four basic operations of fractions: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So let's start with addition and subtraction of proper fractions. So I would like to talk about proper fraction in these examples. Alright, so don't forget we involve some algebra here, which is the negative fraction, and also subtract the negative fraction as well. So if you don't use a calculator, again, it's quite a few steps that we have to remember. I would like to go over all of this step for everyone, and again at the end I will ask everyone just to perform this operation using your calculator. Okay, so step one is to determine the lowest common denominators. Okay, so here we have, in example 1, we have 18, 42, and 12. In order for you to add these fractions, you need to have the common denominator, and then you perform the operations only with the numerator after you perform the step called the equivalent fractions. Okay, so that is why we are learning how to find the lowest common multiple in our unit 1. And for finding the lowest common denominator, we have to apply that concept of finding the lowest common multiple. So lowest common multiple now turn into the lowest common denominators. Okay, so you see right here we have 18, 42, and 12. So ignore all of this sign for now. We will take care of that in a minute. Okay, so then 18, 42, and 12. Again, using the concept of a prime, collect them in terms of the prime factors and list them accordingly. And then you only collect the like factors in this case, you multiply them, then you have a lowest common factor to work with. So in this case it's 252. Okay, so the next step you want to do is, after you get 252, you want your denominator to be the same. Right, so you want your denominator to be the same. That means you have to perform the step called equivalent fraction. So equivalent fraction means that you multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So the question here is, what is that same number? How do I get that same number? Okay, so before I get to that, I would like everyone to take a look at this here. So first of all, you may want to clean up the negative positive sign, perform the basic operation here so that you can just simplify your fraction into this. You see, all right, so I have negative 7 over 18. It's wise that you register this negative to the 7. Okay, because 7 divided by 18 is a negative number, so it doesn't matter where you actually put this negative sign. But it's best that you register the negative to the 7. Therefore, I put negative 7 over 18, and I plus 11 over 42, and negative will give it a positive right here. You multiply negative with negative, you end up with a positive. So now you see these three fractions are quite simplified in terms of no more of the negative and positive with the brackets. So now you can perform the step called equivalent fraction. So at the end, you want to achieve, you want to have 252 as your common denominators, right? So you found it here. So the trick is you take 252, you divide it by 18. Just divide it by your denominator that you see right here. You end up with 14. So what you do is you start multiplying that 14 with the numerator and the denominator, because division and multiplication are opposite operation from each other. Excuse me. So I just want to let everyone know that if I pause, it means that I take a sip of tea. It's quite intense talking and recording at the same time, so excuse me, just if you can allow me that little minute to pause and have some tea. And again, everyone, tea is very good with math. Okay, so 18 here, and I timed it with 14 again. I found 14 because I just take 252 divided by 18. So then you end up with 14. So if you take 14, you times 18, you will get 252. You see, so it's more like an automatic trick that I would like to show everyone. Then you take that 14, you multiply both of these, you know that this will turn into 252, and 14 times negative 7 give you negative 98. Okay, so now for the next fraction, which is 11 over 42, so I get 6 by take 252 divided by 42. Then I got 6. So I know that 6 is the number that I have to multiply both the top and the bottom by to get to the equivalent fraction. Because 42 times 6 will give me 252. So now you see 11 times 6, I got 66. Okay, so you do the same thing for the last fraction. I take 252 divided by 12, I got 21. So take 21 times 12, I know that I got 252. So that number 21, the same one multiplied to the numerator, I get 105. Then all you have to do is now, you just perform the order operation in this case using your calculator, and that is your final answer. Okay, so, and in this case, the final answer is already in a lowest term because I know 73 is a prime. And if we find lowest common multiple, most cases, we end up with the final result in lowest term. All right, so you see, it's quite tedious. However, with the calculators, it's just a few simple steps. So you know what to do, you know how to put in your brackets, you know how to key in all of this. So in the end, you should have the same answer as well. Okay, so I know most of you will use your calculator to work with, and I think it's easy to do and also easy to key into any calculator that you find this key and the shift key and this key here representing both mixed number and improper fractions. Okay. So let's go to the next operation, which is called multiplication of fractions and division. So let's talk about multiplication first. Okay, so multiplication of fraction by simplification. So most cases, we have to perform this if we don't use the calculator. Okay, so take a look at this example 2. I have negative 6 over 7 as a fraction, negative 21 over 3 as a fraction as well. I know this can turn into a negative 7, but the reason I put it like this so that I can perform, show everyone how we can do this by simplification. And negative 5 over 15. Okay, so first of all, you count the odd number of negative sign. It means that you should have a negative number, because negative times negative make it a positive, then positive times negative will give you a negative answer again. Okay, so therefore I register that negative right at the front. Okay, so where do I get the 3 times 2? Because it's coming from 6. Okay, 6 is 3 times 2. Okay, so I will highlight this for everyone. 6 here is 3 times 2. Okay, so now I got 7 and 3. So you don't have to worry about this negative sign because you already performed the negative sign, multiplication of 2 negative sign, and multiply another negative. You already have a negative at the front here. Okay, so 21 is 7 times 3. That's what I wrote next. So it's 21 here is 7 times 3. 5 is already a prime, so I leave it. Now 7 here is just this 7. 3 here is this 3, but 15 is 5 times 3. Okay, so 15 here is 5 times 3. So by simplification, now I am going to look for the same number as the numerator with the same number as the denominator, so I can cross them out. Okay, so let's do this. So let me clear that. Okay, so now I'm going to pick the same one to cancel out. So this 3 cancel with this 3, 7 cancel with 7, 3 cancel with 3, 5 cancel with 5. So what do I have left? I just have negative 2 left. So just 2, register the negative at the front, I have a negative 2. Okay, so again, it's also very easy if you just key this into your calculator with a bracket. Right here is a bracket, the fraction key, and the negative sign. Don't forget, these are the negative sign. okay, and here's your multiplication, then you should end up with the answer as -2 as well. Alright, so let's take a look at our division. So for division, if you don't use calculator, you have to follow the concept of reciprocal. Okay, so first of all, what is a reciprocal of a fraction? A reciprocal of 5/9 is 9/5. So all you do is you flip the fraction over. Okay, so reciprocal of a fraction that involving the algebra here, the algebraic expression here, so -6a/7b. The reciprocal of that is just flip the fraction over, so 7b over -6a. Okay, so to divide fraction, you multiply the reciprocal of the fraction which is needed to divide it by. Okay, so right here. So divide the fraction and simplify to lowest term, right? So what you do is you have -21/30 divided by -7/3. So you divide these two fractions. First of all, what you do is you, preceding this division, okay? So you have -7/3. So as soon as you change this division into a multiplication, you immediately flip the fraction over. Okay, so -21/30, I leave it the way it is, and I multiply with 3/7. Okay, so just carry the negative with the number that you have to flip, then you don't get confused by asking, so where does this negative sign go? But it doesn't matter in this case. However, it's best that just flip it over and keep the negative with the 7. So now you see I have positive here, right? Okay, positive means negative times negative, give me a positive. Where's the 3 and 7 coming from? It's from 21, because 21 is 3 times 7. Okay, so the 3 is just the 3, 30. I break that into 3 and 10. Okay, then the 7 stay for this 7. So now I cancel out the one that the same. So 3, 3, cancel out. Okay, so excuse me, so 3 and 3 cancel out. Then I get the 7 cancel with the 7. My answer left here is 3/10. Okay, so it's a positive. So positive means that you don't have to present as a positive sign. You just leave it without the positive sign. Then the answer also understood as the positive answer. Okay, so again, if you don't need to go through all of this stuff, you can just go ahead and use your calculator. Okay, so no problems in example 2 and example 4 can also be easily solved by using calculator. So it's a good idea that you can try to key this into your calculator to see if you get 3/10 as the final result. Okay, so try to perform the operation with the negative as well. Okay, so for -21/30, register that -1 with the 21. Alright, so here's the practice. I have quite a few practice for everyone to work on, and I already posted the solution here already. Please work on the practice and master the calculator that you have. Alright, okay, so if you use your calculator, I believe that the final answer from the calculator that you get will always be the one in lowest term. And most of the time it tends to give you the answer as mixed number, but you see you can quickly switch back to the improper if that is the case on your calculator. For example, for this number 3, I know that after you key this in, it will give you a mixed negative number, but you can easily convert that to -36/5. Okay, the same thing for number 4. It will give you a mixed number, and then you can easily convert that into improper fraction. Alright, thank you everyone.